The following three situations shows cultural clashes between a Dutch and a Chinese student. In the first situation, you will see a Dutch and a Chinese girl greeting each other. The Dutch girl is used to giving 3 kisses when she meets someone she knows, whereas the Chinese girl is not expecting body contact.
Oh, hi!
Oh.
If you are greeting somebody, be aware if the other person is part of a contact culture and used to touch during the greeting, or if the person's culture is a non-contact one and he or she feels uncomfortable with, for example, kisses. In addition, be careful to watch for any hints showing the emotions of the person you communicate with. In our example, the Chinese student shows very clearly her disagreement with the Dutch greeting procedure, but just with non-verbal communication. Whereas a person from a low-context culture, like the Dutch girl, would show uncomfortableness in an explicit verbal message, maybe saying that this is not the greeting he or she is used to.
Our second cultural clash appears when the Chinese student is asked for her opinion by the teacher. Because of the high power distance, Chinese students are never asked for their opinion. They show respect by not having eye contact with the person with a higher status. This type of behavior is called losing face.
And what's your opinion about it?
Well, I think
You just saw several difficulties in one situation. First of all, the different levels of power distance. Like mentioned in the introduction, in Chinese schools you have usually a high power distance and the students have to react in a certain way to show respect and to not disappoint the teacher. The Dutch teacher and the classmates, used to a smaller power distance, get angry and are confused. So in an international university, it's important to agree on a behavior and to be conscious of a common power distance. Classmates could help to integrate students which are not used to the culture's power distance.
In the third scene, the reaction of the Dutch person is an example of prejudice and ethnocentric behavior when she is asking the Chinese girl if she wants bread for breakfast, and the Chinese girl shows a negative reaction.
You want some bread for breakfast?
no, I prefer to have some soup.
The short situation is an example of violated expectations. The Dutch girl offers bread and tries to invite the Chinese girl to have breakfast together. Instead of bread, the Chinese student chose soup. The Dutch girl thinks that soup is disgusting for breakfast and shows that in her non-verbal reaction. She compares the Chinese breakfast just in relations to her experiences. If you're in contact with a foreign person or live in a different culture, accept the differences in food and just try it.
I think it's individualism and collectivism because Dutch people they always do things by themselves and you can see that most Chinese students they like to get together and discuss their daily lives and also homeworks between them. Yeah, and secondly, also Dutch people they are quite straightforward. If they don't like something, they just say I don't like something. But in China, you know, because Chinese people they are quite polite, so maybe sometimes they don't like something, but they say, oh, it's okay. Thirdly, I think Dutch people is a bit cold. I think maybe because the weather here is always cold. Yeah, because if you get quite familiar with Dutch people and you are always go for something, maybe dinners or something, but you think that sometimes you still have the distance between you and they will not show all the things they think to you.
Yeah, I think the most different happened in China and the Netherlands is the first thing is the food. In China we eat the rice, but in Netherlands it always have the bread. The second thing I think is different. It may be the bicycle, because even we all have bicycles both in China, a lot of, but in Netherlands, some bicycles is very different as far.
I think the Chinese girl, they are like not too open, and they want the boys to tell like I love you like this first, and they show very shy at first, and they don't want boy to say like the first time to meet, they don't want to say I like you like that. They don't like this kind of style. But I think the European girl, they think they like to the boy to. In China, that's the speed is very snail. The speed is faster, but in here, the speed is very slow, because here you need to make appointment for everything, but in China you don't need to make appointment. That's you can go directly. For example, you go to hospital, you don't need to make appointment. And like if you go to visit somebody, you also don't need to make appointment. That's the biggest difference.
Well, I think the most biggest difference is between the way they explain the thing. Like for Chinese girl, sometimes when they talk to their boyfriend, when they say no, actually they mean yes. When they say yes, actually they mean no. They cannot just tell what they actually think in their heart. But for the European girls or the Dutch girls, I think they can just tell her boyfriend about what she think and what she want, and just go straight on, no anything to cover it.
And the Dutch girl think they want to have their privacy, like they have their own individual space. They want to grow themselves. They can earn money by themselves. But in Chinese girl way, they think they want to spend more time with their boyfriend. If they like to go with a boyfriend or go with their friend, they choose their boyfriend first. But in Dutch way, maybe they choose their friend.